All right, awesome. Welcome to this week's video, you guys. I am super excited to share my friend Georgia with you today. Georgia, thank you so much for joining me. So glad you're here. So guys, we are doing videos a little differently. As I may have mentioned this month, I am craving connection and I'm craving realness, and I'm sure you are too. So I'm really excited to really just share some really down-to-earth conversations with you that I hope you will find valuable in helping you figure out and navigate a lot of the changes that we're all dealing with right now. So I'm bringing Georgia into this conversation because we want to talk today and share with you how to stay positive while in quarantine. And maybe you're suddenly homeschooling and all of your plans and routines have been turned upside down. And I just want to speak to that. And Georgia and I are going to talk about a few things that we've been doing in our homes and in our families that have helped us stay sane and stay positive. So Georgia, she is a very good friend of mine, and she is also a former client, and we just have a lot in common. We both follow Tuttle, and we're both into energy profiling and all that fun stuff. If you're not familiar with that yet, sorry if there's some language that's thrown in here that you don't understand. If we start talking about type 2 and type 3, I'll have some links below that you can check out those references. But Georgia currently lives in El Paso, Texas with her husband and her 2 children. And she is a homeschool mom and a generally awesome, very naturally positive person. So I'm really excited to share her with you today. And we're just going to dive right in. So Georgia, thanks again. I'm really excited to get into this. So we kind of picked 5 themes to share with you guys today. And the first one, again, just in this context of everything has been turned upside down. Our routines are different. We're kind of trying to find this new normal, right? And number one, we wanted to talk about how creating space and allowing for this process of finding this new normal to happen. So Georgia, let's dive in. What are some ways that you've just what does that mean to you, first of all, of what does it mean to create space for that?
So for us at our house, we have spread out the time I allow for us to do things. So our homeschool stuff has started probably about an hour later, and I've knocked some things off the list. So like the stressful subjects, we're going to let them rest until things are normal. The fun things, the things that take me less time and less mental space is what we're doing.
Nice.
And yeah, that's how we're.
So space in a time realm. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And also, so like usually we're all kind of together in the living room doing things. We have just we sort of naturally they'll have times when like I'm at my room and my daughter's in her room and my son's in his room, and just being by ourselves.
Yeah. And
I know I have used that time to be more intentional for myself, and then have let my kids know, hey, this is what I'm doing. Or, hey, it sounds like you have a lot of emotions you're trying to go through. This would be a great thing to journal about. My son has done it. My daughter is like, no, Mom.
And why don't you tell us how old are your kids?
So my son is 12 and my daughter is going to be 10 on Sunday.
Okay, so kind of just getting into those adolescent.
Okay.
I look forward to the day that all of my children just find their own corners of the house. We've also talked about how your kids are a little bit kind of lower energy, a little more not as social, maybe a little more introverted. Mine are all not that way. So it's almost like I'm a magnet, that wherever I am, they gravitate to. So I love what you said there of even communicating with your kids when you are choosing to create your own space. And I will do that. I'll put my headphones in and I'll go hide in my room. And when they come in, I just let them know, like, oh, this is my time. I'm just taking a little break. Here's something you can go do. And that's okay. I think so much right now, we just all need to give each other and ourselves permission to create that space and to just kind of take a breath. And it's okay if things look different right now, because everything is different right now.
Yeah.
Just leaning into that reality, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a ridiculous time. And I
Yeah.
was reading somewhere that this is a good time to practice grace
Yeah,
for ourselves
totally.
and extending it to other people.
Absolutely.
And my son is much more sensitive to things. Just he takes everything in. He's really bothered that there's so much he can't control.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so it is just reminding him just kindly and gently, it's okay. And then my daughter, she has a little bit of higher energy, and just realizing, okay, yes, we haven't been able to go out and do things. So she is going to act like a wild animal in the living room.
Yeah.
And I am okay with roaring like a lion or whatever.
And again, you're going to create space for that. That, again, that kind of, to me, creating space is giving permission for certain things that we know that we need or our children need, which I think a lot of moms, whether they're aware of it or not, that is our job right now, is to be aware of, okay, what is going on under the surface, and managing it and helping our kids manage it. It's a lot.
Yeah. And we have a whiteboard that we usually do school stuff, but it's where we write down, like, this is what we're doing. So we have some things that we do every day as a group. Like, we always start with scriptures and then we go through our other things. And so it's nice to be like, here's this. And for myself, because I am higher energy and I don't want to make things too heavy, I will give each day a theme. So last week it was like beach day or whatnot. This week I had everybody choose a place we wanted to visit. So we're virtually touring. We did Paris yesterday.
Wow.
And so we virtually went to Paris and like, here's all these things. And there's so much online that
that's awesome.
We can do some things and then we kind of have this come together, let's leave each other apart. And then we come together and then go away.
Okay. So a little bit of a rhythm there.
Yeah. I think keeping our rhythm, even though like by now, half the time I can't remember what day it is or whatever. It's the quarantine day 347,000 million. I don't know.
Tally marks on the wall.
Yes. That if we have our rhythm, then we've been able to maintain a good balance of everything.
Yeah. Awesome. I love how aware you are and how tuned in you are to yourself and to your kids. And I think we can all kind of lean on that. And because I think all moms do have that, whether they realize it or not. Awesome. Okay, so as you and I were getting ready to talk today, we mentioned a little bit of how we've been creating some flexibility for ourselves. You're talking about, I love how you said a rhythm and not necessarily a schedule.
Yeah.
To me, those are two different things. They accomplish the same thing, hopefully. But for me, it's like, my kids don't ask what time is it, they ask what's next. So it's more of a sequence of things to our routine more than we are a servant to the clock or the calendar or whatever. So yeah, we're finding our groove as well, but I've had to be flexible. So what are some ways that you've kind of been having to have some flexibility, maybe with what things used to be and now what they are?
It's definitely with that to-do list. So we have like our goals for the day. And I think that's been kind of our thing that has helped us be flexible.
Yeah.
And it's kind of checking in, because I know for me, if my attitude and emotional self is off, then I know everybody else is going to be off too.
Yeah.
And so if I have made sure to definitely check in with myself in the morning, like, what am I able to do and how many decisions am I able to make today? And there's about like 4 choices a day that I can make, and then I'm an overload.
Yeah. Okay. So you're being flexible day to day.
Yeah.
That every day doesn't look the same. You're checking in,
Right.
you're tuning in
Yeah.
each day and saying, yeah, where am I at? What feels doable? And really,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I clarified this at the beginning of the video, but this is why we're having this conversation. Some people might be watching this and thinking, why is Danielle talking about this stuff? So she doesn't usually talk about this stuff, but this affects our health.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely it does. If our whole life is turned upside down, then our exercise is going to go by the wayside. Our sleep routine is going to go out the door. Our nutrition is going to go down the toilet. Like it's all just going to blow up. And then we're going to be left to pick up the pieces, and we're not going to feel awesome in the process or in the end. So that's why we're talking about this, because if you can navigate this with this kind of self-awareness that we're talking about, I think, to me, that is thriving, not just surviving. Which is why we're having this conversation. So definitely. I love that, of tuning in on a daily basis and letting it look different. That's flexibility, letting it look a little different day to day. I think, I've got another video that we are doing this month that we talk a lot about kind of mental and emotional wellness with my friend Yvette. And we talked about that, of how you're going to have a lot of different emotions happening, and you will be able to handle them better and move through them better if you can give yourself a moment to tune in and not just brush it under the rug and say, no, I'm fine, and just keep muscling through, which women are really good at doing, especially when we have other humans to take care of. So I think tuning in and allowing that flexibility based on where you're at in that moment for that day, so healthy to do that. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and you had mentioned exercise and keeping exercise up. So because we homeschool and everything's canceled, so all of our outings to go out, any classes that we were taking, everything's canceled. So I'm having to my kids would probably for themselves say that they were fine, just let me watch TV all day. But I don't like my kids when they watch TV all day.
Yeah.
And so we have done things like the yoga kid video. Like, those are harder. She makes those look really easy, but they're not all that easy.
Kids are flexible, man.
They are.
My kids come home and they're like, check out this yoga pose we did at PE. And I'm like, yeah, my hips don't move that way.
yeah, there's no way. And so we've done that, or we've gone for a hike and like kind of getting us out, or hey, we're gonna go jump on the trampoline for a little bit.
Finding other ways to get what you used to get. We kind of have to reinvent it a little bit now.
Well, and yesterday our exercise was, we went and delivered little notes and like a little bag of heart-shaped candy stuff that we had to friends. So we had like 12 people. So our exercise was, you get out and you knock on the door and you dash back to the car. Run away. And if you see anybody, then you yell, social distancing, but I love you. And it turned out really good, and it really helped uplift our moods and kind of got us.
Mixed it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Love it. Oh, so awesome. These are great ideas. Okay, so another thing we wanted to talk about today was how does keeping everything in perspective helping you stay positive right now?
Yeah, it's actually helping a ton. So like you'd mentioned, I am a pretty positive person just in general. And so, but even now this time can feel really heavy and bogged down. And so I've kind of keep telling myself, this is temporary. This isn't going to last forever. So whatever this weird normal is, we will return to normal at some point. And just realize like how ridiculous this time right now is.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It is bizarre, but at the same time, it is so cool because there has never been a time when the whole world is globally connected in one cause.
Yeah. It's almost like that feeling that we had after 9/11.
Yeah.
There was a there really was a tangible unity and nationalism that came out of that crisis.
Yeah.
And yes, it is really neat. I've never felt connected to people in Italy, you know, or anywhere in the country that, or in the world, and in different countries. It is neat.
Yeah, it is neat.
Tragic and scary on some level, but also interesting to feel a little more like a global citizen.
Yeah.
That we're really all in this together on some level.
Yeah. Well, and realizing that because this is such a big thing, my scope of control on it is very tiny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I am not having to make any of the big decisions. And for me, that's really relaxing. I can sleep better at night because I'm not having to tell anybody or 50 million people what to do or worry about that. I can just, my scope is just my house. It's just these people in my house. Yeah. And that helps me be positive. And I have limited, even more so, media that promotes the crazy ideas and the worry ideas.
Yeah.
And switched definitely to, here's this company that's making face masks, or here's these people doing online classes. And
all right, so you're choosing the perspective that you want to have.
Yeah. And I think everybody can.
Absolutely. And you know it when you see it, whether this is uplifting and helpful or not, or somewhere in between. There's some really fine lines there. You know, my husband is really plugged in. Like he wants all the daily reports of all the numbers, and I'm like, that's cool. That okay.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like, I can't control that. And I'm already doing everything that I've been told to do. We are washing our hands. We are staying home. We are doing all the things. I'm doing everything that I've been asked to do as a global citizen in this. And that's enough for me. I don't need the updates because I don't know. I don't need the fear, the worry, the stress, the anxiety, all the stuff that comes with it that I am very sensitive to. Apparently my husband is not. And that's fine. So to each their own. Okay, so but we can choose our media. We can choose which lens we want to look through with this whole thing, which kind of takes us to the next thing that we wanted to talk about was what silver linings, what opportunities have you noticed for maybe just for your family that has actually really been awesome about this whole experience?
Yeah, our biggest silver lining is that we are eating plant-based. And so when I go to the grocery store, all the fresh food is there. And then you go a little further and like all the canned food is gone and all the meat is gone. And I can still pretty much get everything on my shopping list.
Yeah.
Without worry.
You're not buying a lot of the processed
packaged. Yeah, I'm not buying the processed stuff. I know how to cook from scratch.
Yeah.
I know what to do with random vegetables because we've tried it out before, or we're not going through withdrawal of, oh, I can't have that steak because there's no steak. We can be like, we can cook our normal food, and that is really huge. That has been such a huge stress relief of I don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's nice.
And it's been really lovely.
Yeah, and it's kind of been an opportunity for you. I'll put some context to this. So for you, Georgia, you've been kind of moving in this plant-based direction for a couple of years now?
Yeah, a couple of years now.
Yeah, wow. That's when we were working together. It was a couple of years ago. And husband and kids have been, okay, Mom, you're crazy, but I guess we have to eat what you cook us. But then you've also allowed some flexibility, and there's still sometimes that things are happening that aren't like, I mean, you're not like 100% super strict with it. But now you get to use this circumstance as, oh yeah, sorry, there wasn't X, Y, or Z on the non-plant-based list even available at the store. And so the kids and the husband are even more needing to just go with you on this.
Yeah, they do. And like we have upped our like salsa and avocado intake because we know that we are emotionally eating. We are wanting those fats, salts, all that good stuff. And so we've allowed it. I'm like, well, we will make 12 cups of salsa and we will be okay. And trying to put in the best junk food we can.
Hey, that's nobody can say no to salsa and guacamole, and that's all right. I love it. Again, I think this just shows just your ability to just kind of roll with it and not split hairs, not get all uptight about it. And I think everyone can just kind of take a breath and just kind of roll with the punches a little bit too. Awesome. For me, I have to think a little hard to look for those opportunities. I'm at home with 4 kids. It's been rocky. It's been a big curveball for me to rearrange my whole life. But it has been neat to sit down, and I've just been doing some journaling I write that at the top of the page and say, and sometimes I journal in a prayerful way. I'll say, I refer to God as Heavenly Father, and I just say, Heavenly Father, what opportunities are in this for me? And I've got a whole page, and I have to remind myself what they are. So whether they are top of mind for people, or if you have to do a little bit of digging to find them, even for me, I can tell you that I did find a whole page worth, and there are opportunities for our families, for ourselves personally. The biggest one is getting back to basics. Like in a good way, right? The first thought that I had when everything really just hit and when we really felt the impact of, oh, this is going to impact our lives. My first thought was, it makes sense that the world has to slow down. Like, to me, on an energetic level, like it had to slow down, and we weren't going to choose it. I just feel like the whole world, especially the American culture, we are just going a mile a minute. And this has forced everyone to slam on the brakes. And it forces us to focus on those things that are absolutely most important, which is generally our families, right? And our own personal well-being. So there's a huge opportunity there, I think, for everyone to just kind of let go of stuff that takes up their time, physical things that take up their space. There's really great opportunities there if we take the time to see and to look for them. So.
Yeah, that was one of my first kind of ahas, because I get FOMO, so I get really worried I'm going to miss out on something.
Yeah,
and that was the first stress that I realized was gone. Like, I can't miss out on anything because there's nothing going on.
There's nothing to miss out on.
There's nothing to miss out on. And so I was like, oh, it is so great. I don't have to worry about doing everything or saying no to everything because I have to focus here. I can just, nothing's going on.
Yeah, it is a relief. We don't have the stress and strain of making those decisions anymore. A lot of decisions have been made for us, and now we get to decide how we move forward with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so the last thing we wanted to touch on was how are you recognizing the things that you can control and the things that you can't control, and how is that helping you kind of stay sane through all of this?
I think the way I recognize it is definitely through my self-help stuff I do. So my journaling and prayer and being honest about how I'm feeling in these things.
Yeah.
My husband teaches classes because he's a chaplain, and he has a visualization he has people do where you're standing in a room in the middle of a hula hoop, and then he has people name, well, what can you control right here? Mm-hmm. And when you first do that and you're wanting to control everything, you're like, and then you realize, well, the only thing I can control is my attitude. Yeah, yeah, that really,
Uh-huh.
ta-da, you made it. You got it. And and then like I get to choose how I react to things. I get to choose how I'm going to uphold, like, wash my hands. Well, I get to choose the soap I use. I will use good smelling soap because I can choose that.
Sure.
And choosing to get up every day and show up for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happens, I get to show up for this day. And I keep reminding my kids, you got to get dressed for the day. They keep wanting to have pajama days every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I know if I do that, my attitude tanks, everything. I just feel like slug in a hole.
Yeah.
And so just remembering, like, yep, I can choose what I eat. I can choose this. And yeah, it's been really limited now. And so that's kind of good. Like, well, you don't have to worry about going out anywhere, but I can choose to go for a walk.
Yeah.
And like here in El Paso, the weather has been beautiful.
Oh, that's so good.
So like,
I'm so glad.
I can sit outside. I can choose to see, like, springtime is actually happening.
Yeah, that didn't get stopped, did it?
Yeah, regardless of whatever is going on.
Yeah.
And I think that was a beautiful realization the other day as I was sitting outside, just kind of like, oh, what are we gonna do? And I noticed, like, our trees have little leaves on it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, spring is still happening.
Yeah, choosing to connect with nature, I think, is one of the best things that we can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Taking time to do that. Yeah, super powerful. Because it just like, it grounds you, it brings everything back into perspective. Life does go on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, this human world is really kind of artificial and temporary, and nature keeps moving, you know, and so it's just it's an interesting perspective to get outside and connect with nature.
Well, and realizing that I get to choose whether this time is for my good, or if I look back on this and it's the worst time ever.
Yep. Exactly.
And so I am just trusting that it'll be good. Whatever big world events go on in my personal life, like, this has been fantastic.
Yeah. I love that. And that's really the theme that I'm really putting out there this month, is that we do get to choose that. We can choose survival mode, slug in a hole feeling, just roll over, lay around in our pajamas all day. We can choose that. And or we can choose to be intentional. We can choose to show up. We can choose to tune in. And yeah, there might be days where it's like, you know, the best thing, there was a day, you know, my husband, he still gets up and he goes to work. He works for a medical supply company. So he is at work. And, you know, he always asks me, what are you going to do today? And I was like, honestly, I'm thinking it's a Netflix day, which never, like, we are never just binging on shows, especially me with my children, like, just not doing anything. But that was just like where I was at, and I was okay with that. I allowed myself to have that space, and it was okay. And you know what? Honestly, we didn't end up actually doing that all day long, but in that moment, to give myself permission to have that flexibility was really healthy emotionally for me. So yeah, control the things we can, let go of the things we can't. There's so many things in my life that have changed. I was working a certain number of hours at a certain time of day under certain circumstances, which did not include 4 children running around the house interrupting me, which is actually awesome that we've had no interruptions during this call, by the way. Quite miraculous. I have to just let go of that. There's nothing, I just need to choose it. I just need to say, okay, yeah, this is where we're at, and I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to find a new normal with this, and that's going to be okay. So whatever, you know, for those of you that are watching this video, like, I hope something that we talked about today resonated. this is really just fun for us because we love talking. We could go on and on, but we will wrap it up to save your time. But Georgia, thank you again so much for just being so honest and open with us today and sharing your wisdom and your good energy. So thank you. For those of you that are watching this video, please know that you can stay in tune to more videos like this month, and really until quarantine is lifted, we're going to be showing up in videos and posts, Facebook, Instagram. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's called Healthy Living with Danielle Dinkelman, or you can join the free private Facebook group we have under the same name. We'd love to see you over there. Georgia's in there. She's very involved, so come and be friends with us. We'd love to see you. And until then, take care and just choose to thrive, choose to do your best day to day, and we're all in this together, and it's going to be good in the end. So with that, we'll say goodbye.